So yeah, before you got into the chip tuning and all that, you mentioned you met your partner for the Glowing Stars, Lizzie, in another punk band. Like, yeah, what were you doing musically before you ended up here?
I started out pretty traditionally. I learned classical piano when I was a kid and got into traditional music theory that way. But I had a piano teacher who, at a certain point, we kind of stopped practicing things we were supposed to be working on during lessons, and he started showing me. Oh, we got an avalanche over there.
Uh-oh, whoa, hey there.
He started showing me 70s progressive rock. Nice. I got really into Emerson, Lake and Palmer, and I got really into Yes. And
nice.
And somehow that led me to. I came to a realization that you could take the intricacies of classical music and complex interactions between instruments or synthesizer voices, as the case may be, and you could have them be in rock music. You could have the energy and the power behind rock music at the same time. And later I found bands like Sleepytime Gorilla Museum and Mr. Bungle and bands like that have been doing stuff like this.
Bending genres, blending things together, changing their instrumentation.
And having the guts to be willing to write out sheet music but play it on distorted guitars and have that kind of energy and stage presence.
So kind of like because nowadays it's like you're either a rock star or you're a composer.
Right.
Yeah, you can't do both.
It's hard to cross. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're too technical as a guitarist, people are gonna be like, oh, that guitarist is just kind of a douchebag, snooty jerk.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, in some ways, punk rock was a response to this progressive rock thing, where they saw rock music as becoming less of a thing of the people and more of a thing of studied musicians. But it's like it can be both. It doesn't have to be one thing or another. It's like I'm perfectly when I watch Boris play. I mean, they're technically adept, but they're not sitting down and writing out ridiculous. They're not playing anything fast at all. But it sounds fantastic because they're very musical. But when I watch Sleepytime Gorilla Museum play, it's a very different kind of thing, but it's still fantastic. They're still great musicians.
Yeah, there's different things to like about different bands. Right. Yeah, totally.
Right.
So all right, you became a classical composer. Like, did you play in a lot of bands leading up to this?
Yeah, I was in. I was in a couple groups with my friend Peter Lim, which is actually I was in a band called Tensegrity 9 with this guy Peter, which is the band I was in when I met Lizzie. And actually, the Tensegrity 9 album just became free on Bandcamp. That's when I really started to get my performance, my theatrical thing. We would do choreographed dances and it was the two of us and we were switching instruments all the time and we really had a very particular thing going. And
a cool, unique dynamic.
Yeah. I was in that group for a while. For a while I was concurrently in Sputtered All, the punk band with Lizzie. And I was in a pretty normal kind of rock three-piece. We were writing music that was heading into the direction of more composed, but the band broke up for various reasons. The band was called False Protocol. My phone is being really quiet.
All right.
Anyway, and I've been in and out of some other things. I was playing for a long time with this group, the Family Crest, which is like an orchestral rock band essentially, and they have kind of an open membership, and nice. I was playing accordion with them. So yeah, I've had a lot of opportunities to do a lot of different things to kind of pull influences in from a lot of different places.
Nice. So did you start off with piano and go from there?
Yeah, I started off with piano, and then when he started doing the progressive rock thing, when my teacher started doing the progressive rock thing with me, I started playing organ and I started playing synthesizers, learning how to program synthesizers, and it led to this interest in electronic music. And I went through that for a long time and learning a lot about programming drum machines and programming synthesizers, and then it kind of started to come full circle, and I wanted to start to play the trombone more, and I wanted to start to play the banjo, and mixing these things as much as possible.
Nice. So how many instruments do you actually play now?
The short answer typically is that I don't play woodwinds and I don't play bowed strings.
All right.
I mostly play trombone, keyboards, and those are my 1 and 2. I also obviously play drums, and I play banjo, but I'm very self-taught on the banjo. So
Yeah. So, well, you play banjo well enough that people won't know that you don't play banjo.
Exactly.
There you go. All right. So, but back to the technological stuff. So the Game Boys, like, how many Game Boys do you actually go through doing this, or are these two fellas here like the ones that you've been using since you began?
It's almost kind of embarrassing. I've got, you can show it off. It's fine. You can even turn it on if you want. It's almost kind of embarrassing. So I've got these two guys. These two kind of matching clear Game Boys are I put together just for this project. The Glowing Stars there's these two clear pink Game Boys where I dyed the shells that have pitch controls that Lizzie uses to play as like a little synthesizer with the D-pad. And then there's 3 Game Boys that look much more traditional that are the ones I use on stage for playback. I have a green Game Boy that I use as that I carry around and use as my programming Game Boy. And then I have a box of Game Boys.
What?
And, well, part of it is I've done some modding to sell for people. I've done some trading to people who want a Game Boy and they have something else that I want, and I'll make something for them that they can use. And part of it is just to have backups because sometimes they die. And I need to be able to put something together really quickly to use.
So where do you get them from? Where do you get a box of Game Boys, man? Like, that's
flea
insane.
markets, eBay, thrift stores, people who have them and aren't using them anymore, just all kinds of places. You know, I go to someone's house and they have one in their parents' desk drawer, and I'm like, oh, are you using that? Like, do you want something for that? Or, and suddenly I have an instrument. You know.
Nice.
You need to be.
Dude, that's rad.
Quiet.
Oh, your phone's just trying to get in on the.
I know.
Wants to be famous.
To get in on the.
Your phone just wants to be all over the internet with us. But it probably already is if it's an iPhone.
Yeah, I guess it is.